call the meeting to order. Before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, call to order for March 13, 2024, 7 p.m.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're gonna, let's approve the minutes from February 14th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from February 14th, 2024.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Treasurer's report.
All right, it's kind of in the middle of your packets after last month's board minutes, if you want to follow along. Otherwise, Pam has it up on the screen here in the room.
I can't read it.
You got the right page? You got it. So for our February 2024 financial statement, our beginning balance in our checking was $108,312. Less our expenses plus our revenues left us with an ending balance in our checking account of $118,066. In our assets, which are our investment accounts, we have $467,535, giving the township total assets plus cash in our checking of $585,601. Moving down to the middle section of the page, we've got our expenses year over year. So our February 2024 expenses were $7,108 lower than our February 2023 expenses. And the main driver here was really just less snow plowing expenses. Pretty obvious, I think, that we've all had a lot less snow this year than last year. So we're saving there because we do pay per hour to our snow plow contract. So if it doesn't snow, we don't pay the way it stands right now. And then moving down, Pam, if you want to move the screen a little bit. Our revenues year over year, we're down $13,467 for the month of February. And there was kind of three items here, you can see on the bottom. Last year we had some funds from a resident we had to put into escrow for $10,000. And then last year we got a reimbursement check of $12,000 from Washington County for, we plow County Road 75 on their behalf, so they pay us back for that. And then this year, we received the gravel tax in January of 2023 versus receiving it in February of 2024. So just kind of some timing items there. And then at the very bottom of the page, we've just got kind of our full year kind of budget preview. So year to date, we've spent $17,308. And we've collected revenues of $37,619. So year to date through February, we currently have a surplus of $20,312. Any questions for me?
When do we get our tax revenue, our half of your state from the county?
I have to look exactly, but I think it's June and December,
Okay.
roughly. Yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
I'll make the motion to pay bills 37 through 53 for $7,707.81.
I'll second it.
Got to vote on it.
Well, let me just look at
Oh, okay.
what's here. They must have did the primary, the judges?
Yes,
Yeah, okay, thanks.
and the vote as well.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Reports of committees, meetings, and events. Planning Commission report.
Good afternoon, folks. We met on Monday, this past Monday. Both of you were there, so you probably have contextual info. We didn't have anything on open forum, approved minutes. We did have under business the approval, or we're recommending for approval, the addition that got presented to you that is right on the, just written into the business item as a new item. It looked like all the compliance was there and all the information that we needed in order to recommend that approval. We had a very brief discussion, just as a reminder and alignment on the Holcim Solar Garden CUP for this year. And then most of the discussion was around the proposed amendment to the zoning CUP. Had a lot of discussion, mostly agreement on all items. We did want to get some additional context for the item of tents and tent structures, and one of the commission members, Eric Folson, is going to take a shot at providing some language for that and for review. And
Yeah, we're gonna meet together.
sounds great. And we've got a process in order to actually get that submitted. And there was one final item related to, I believe, a resident that had asked for questions related to a potential driveway.
Yeah, yep.
And I sent that information up. Don't know if it's related to this meeting, because we didn't really
We got
discuss
that
it.
down the agenda farther.
That sounds great.
Business.
So, and that was the end of the effective 1 hour and 6 minute meeting.
You know, that 49-2, or 3 it's going to be called ordinance, I'd really like to get that wrapped up in April. We should have been done in November. And if we look back at the original intent, you know, the original intent of why we went after that was to combine our ordinance with the county to get that clarified and get it so basically Holcim's property down here, you know, what's her name, couldn't put a go-kart track down there or something to call it a park.
Yep.
So, I mean, if we go back to that and, you know, we can always amend it later, you know, I mean, but like I say, we told the county we'd be done in November, and we can kick that down the road for probably 8 more months. You know, I mean, if we put our mind to kicking it down the road for months, but.
Yeah, I think we're aligned on that. I think that if there's no tangible suggestion on how to resolve the tent issue, I think with what we've got, we can go.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of giving an opportunity for Eric that had a lot of input into that, and make sure that we've got a viable option for
Just trying to
residents.
find a way to make them conforming.
I completely get it. And this is not, we should not be putting ordinance, and this is just for the record, I mean, our purpose is not to put ordinance around people.
Yeah.
It's to put people into ordinances, right? So
Yeah.
at the same time,
I think we're very close.
I would agree, and I think everybody sort of realized that there's a lot of use of that type of a setup, and we
Yeah.
want to make sure that we got a viable way by which people don't become incompliant right away.
Yeah.
So I think we're aligned. I'm going to try to drive it to the extent that I can to get it
Yeah.
completed
Yeah.
by next meeting, and then be able to have sort of a final document for you to review, which I know
Yeah.
you're intimate with.
And I don't think
And-
we need to have another public hearing on it, because we did have one. You know,
Yeah, I
by
would.
our ordinance, we have to have one. Well, we had one. It just happened to be, in October?
Yeah, I would delegate that to your discretion
Yeah, it's
on
up to us to make that decision.
on whether or not, as I said last time, I think if there's enough change, substantial change to it, that you may want to cover it, I would consult with legal,
Okay.
just to make sure that nobody can cry foul. They had no
They just kick it
opportunity to input.
Down the road another month on us. That's what it would do.
I think that if you probably ask them now and say, this is the changes we're suggesting, are you recommending that we have a hearing, that we can probably get some feedback in a few days? It's just to provide you the advice that
Yeah.
we don't have a resident that can say that was not adhering to the process.
Yeah.
It's entirely your
Yeah.
discretion, so. All right, that's what I've got, unless you've got any other questions.
For you guys regarding that. So really the changes that we did on Monday, we removed bed and breakfast.
Yep.
And And
So-
then we'll get tent structure language, and that seems about the only addition that we have since our attorney has seen it.
In
Yeah.
fact, we didn't even remove,
And
bed and breakfast, it wasn't in there.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
you're right,
was.
it was in red, we were thinking of putting it
Yeah.
in, and
Yeah.
we just
Yeah.
got rid of it.
Said no.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
There was
Um,
two that we got rid of.
Yeah,
So there's one thing to ask the lawyer about is, and that would be the tent structures and that.
yeah, I think
Well-
that, again, it's your discretion.
Yeah,
on whether or
gotta
not.
give us a little time for that. We haven't met yet.
okay. Well, we'll probably be 2 months down the road then. We'll probably try and wrap it up next planning commission. And
Well,
then
the
that,
funny thing is, I have one behind my
oh,
shed,
you and 34 other people.
and he has one. So, we'll
Yeah,
look at each
yeah.
other's.
What I'm getting at is a timeline though. If we can kind of get it wrapped up in the next planning commission meeting, then the next 2 days later, we got our board meeting. At the board meeting, we could set a public hearing for the following month prior to sometime set up a public hearing, because we have to do that in a formal action here. So probably be, that'd make it May then, when we'd actually act on it?
Yep, and
Yeah.
once again,
That's
I would-
that's probably the timing we'll try and adhere to get this done.
that sounds good. And you may, our attorney may say there's no substantial change that you have to have a meeting.
Yeah,
And if he says that, then you're good to go. All I'm saying is that in your shoes, I would run it,
yeah.
so nobody can make the claim that you're instituting
Well,
an
depending
ordinance
what they
without
come up
input.
with for, like Pam says, nothing substantial has changed, other than if they come up with, somebody can have 75 tents in their yard,
Yeah. Here's what the litmus test that I would kind of suggest that you think about is that, and I don't know this difference, so Pam, check me on it, but if you're going from the last proposed ordinance was, I'm going to say 30 pages, and the new one is 50,
Yeah.
even though a lot of it is language that we're incorporating, somebody could make the argument that you're adding a lot of content here.
I'm not sure, which one did he see? The combined one?
No.
Oh, I'd have to look.
Yeah, you're right, no, he has not.
No, we didn't send him the combined one. You're right. That's a good point.
Yeah, I think you may have some folks that say, there's a lot of new stuff in here, and you could go,
Yeah, we'll probably run
we
it.
always referenced it, but I would just, I don't know how much he charges,
Well,
but
let's do
I would
this.
run it by them.
Well, let's plan on doing this. We'll bring up, these guys working the tent thing. We'll bring it back to the planning commission and see if we can come to some type of agreement. Whatever they come up with, then we'll send it to the attorney after that time. Because there's no sense sending it to them before they're done arguing about the tents.
Completely agree.
And then get his information back, and then we'd have it for a public hearing, and actually it'd come back to another planning commission meeting before we had the public hearing, because they, just the timing of it, so.
Okay.
We'll plan on that. Don't mean, not all plans come together.
That's right. Any other questions? If not, thank you, appreciate it.
Next planning commission meeting is Monday, April 8th at 6:30 PM. The next town board meeting is Wednesday, April 10th at 7 PM. Ditch cleanup is Saturday, April 13th at 10 AM. And the local board of appeal and equalization meeting is Thursday, April 11th from 6 PM to 7 PM. Here in the town hall.
Is it 6 or it starts at 7?
Starts at
AE
6
is 6. It starts at 6.
and ends
Oh.
at 7.
Okay. All right.
Because she gave me this,
Oh, she didn't give me that.
made it a lot easier.
Okay. The only other meeting we had was the annual meeting. You want to talk about that, Pam?
No?
No? Anybody want to talk about it? I can talk about it. We had our annual meeting last night, and we didn't approve a budget through it, not the board don't run that meeting, the public does. Public decided to hold off on the budget part until September, I think it is. And we didn't close the meeting, we just suspended the meeting until September, because then we'll have all our budget numbers, we'll know how much money, we'll know how much Pioneer Road's gonna cost, how much 99th is gonna cost. We'll know if we're
Do you
still
have
a
that?
township or.
Do you have that, Pam?
Do I have what?
Date?
Date for?
September 11th.
Yeah, it's
September.
not on me.
Yeah, the continuation was September 11th, and we're gonna,
9/11.
yep, continue the annual meeting at 6:30 PM with our normal monthly meeting to follow at 7 PM.
Other than that, I can't think of items of significance that came up. Can you?
No, I think the biggest topic was the condition of our roads. Residents, brought up some different, I would say, trouble spot areas within the township that they would like to see attention around. And I know we've got,
Zach is gonna give
yeah,
us-
we've got roads on the docket tonight, but that was something the residents brought forward, so.
We did bring up the fact of, well, there was a number of people here. We had representative from the sheriff's department, Carla Bigham was here, Keith Frankie was here, people from the watershed were here.
The
Yep.
the sheriff was
The
here.
sheriff?
Well, not the sheriff. She's.
A deputy.
A deputy.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who else. Anyway, so I mean, they all gave their little spiel, and one of the things we brought up was this housing project of Cottage Groves over in the former dunes, the 366 homes, that there's no access. The city approved this large building project, the only access they got to the place is down the 103rd Street Hill under a bridge with 10-foot, 4-inch clearance. So that means all the ready-mix trucks, blacktop, everything, it's gonna come through Cottage Grove, or through St. Paul Park and through Gray Cloud. So we proposed, Commissioner Bigham, that they make Gray Cloud Trail a county road and Highland Drive a county road, seeing the regional park is down there too. And none of their proposals to date on that County Road 19 realignment thing deal with that bridge over there. When Cottage Grove was asked about the bridge, all they said was, the developer's gonna put in additional signage, which meant stop sign ahead. So whether that goes anywhere or not, who knows? Watershed people, we brought up the channel, we brought up Baldwin Lake. So they listened to us as far as that went, so. I think that's the highlights of it. It was recorded, so if anybody wants to watch it, it's on TV, so. That's that.
So right here, I think that you guys were gonna sneak Joe in.
Oh, we want to do that right now? Okay. Sure. All right. I was at the planning commission meeting last night. I didn't fully see the permit, but Paul and them did. Planning
minutes
commission
ago.
looked at it.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve Joe's permit.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You got it.
Yeah, so, you ready?
Yeah.
Do you wanna do this presentation, or,
I can
cause,
go through whatever you.
cause this is SCH estimate for 99th Street South, which is that one.
Yep,
You'll have to push the button on top of that. And the reason we use the mic is
I think it's on.
when she tries to do minutes, it's hard to hear him, so.
Yep. Yeah, I can go through, I think in your packet, or is in your packet, after probably whatever we just went through. There's a page and a half-ish proposal that we sent in. I can go through it as kind of much or as little in detail as you want. It's very similar to the last one that my coworker John presented last month in February. This is just for 99th Street here. I'll briefly step through it, and if you have any questions, I can go into any more detail if you'd like. But essentially our proposal, if we look through it here, again, it's 499th Street from the main road to the dead end cul-de-sac, approximately 1,300 feet, give or take. And in the second paragraph there, a couple costs. Again, these are both of those numbers. So the first one there, the 140,000, that is our high-level preliminary estimate for the all-in cost of 99th Street. And so not the design cost, but that's design, construction, everything. And then the second number, the 410, we just added that 140 to the prior estimate we gave you for the Pioneer Road to give you an estimate bundle of those two at 410. Again, construction cost and everything. So that's our first couple paragraphs
And
there.
that includes
Yep.
this road and Pioneer.
The 410 includes both 99th and Pioneer, correct? Yep. The 140s are just our estimate for the standalone 99th portion. If we go to the understanding, again, very similar. It's the whole section of 99th here to the dead end. Essentially, what we would consider basically a pulverize and repave with minimal base work, but we would include.
We'll have to test it.
Yep, so we would include that portion in our coordination with soil borings, which is same as from the prior project or our prior proposal, where that piece would be directly contracted with you guys for the soil boring company, but we would do that coordination to have them do both roads at the same time. And I guess I'll say now, that would be, I think either way, even if you didn't accept this, that would be something we would get to you for your next month's meeting for at least Pioneer Road if you didn't include this, but our plan is to get those estimates to you for your next month's meeting. If the 99th portion's approved, those would be included. Otherwise, adding 2-foot gravel shoulder where we can, matching driveways where the driveways exist. I think I mentioned in there gravel driveways, but I know there is one right at the start, driveway or small parking lot that's paved. Obviously, that would also get matched in with pavement, it wouldn't get matched in with gravel. So they would match what's there. Same as last project, we don't anticipate or include any underground utilities or other utility improvements, and don't anticipate or include any permitting for either piece there. Going through the scope of services, basically the same thing as the prior project as well. Couple things were kind of pulled out just because they're combined with that other proposal, but we would include the preliminary topographic survey, coordination for those soil borings, and then design of the improvements, the construction plans and construction manual or the project specifications. And then same note that we had in the last one, just so you know what we're talking there, the additional engineering services referenced for construction phase, that's not included in this. That's the piece where if you'd like to have us inspect essentially, or call it construction observation, if you'd like us to handle that portion, we would be able to give you a proposal at that time where we'd know a better idea and scope of that piece. So that's what that little note is. And the schedule's also pretty much the same that we had outlined. I will say a couple pieces of a couple pieces of additional information on that timeline there. Assuming we work through this approval for the 99th piece, we can get that worked out with Pam just like we did last time. There would be actually one less thing for her to sign because we already, since you're a new client, but we just signed our master agreement last time, so we would not have to do that again. It'd just be an amendment for specifically the 99th portion. I already mentioned we would either way, plan on getting you the proposals for your geotechnical services, so the soil borings, which would include 99th Street if you guys do approve that. Also, just as a heads up to any residents and yourselves, currently we do have our surveyors planned to be out here starting next week. If this is approved, they will do 99th Street. If it's not, they will just stick to Pioneer Road. But if you see vehicles out there, folks surveying, that's what they'll be doing. Again, that's planned to start next week, barring any sort of changes. I think they said it might be a couple days you might see them out and about doing that survey work. So that's the survey portion, and then pretty much from there on out, we'll get into our design, and eventually after design, we'd come back for board approval to actually do the bidding and kind of finalize out that piece of our services here. Final paragraph there for the estimated cost. So this is the actual design proposal cost for this portion, the $8,690. That is our design piece that was part of the 140, I believe it was, in the very first paragraph of that all-in cost of 99th Street. And that's kind of the nutshell of our proposal. Do you have any questions for me?
The only thing we want to make sure, and it's going this way, is, we're having you guys design both, get both bids, see what the prices come back, and if we decide not to do 99th, we just want a standalone package for 99th that 1 year, 2 years down the road, we can go to you or somebody else and say, here's the soil borings, here was the engineered drawings, you don't have to do all that stuff again, go get it bid and do it. That's.
Yep, correct. That would be our intent. If this was included, we would bid the project with essentially Pioneer Road, say, be the primary project, and an alternate would be 99th Street, so you could accept the alternate or reject it and just do Pioneer Road, or reject Pioneer Road as well, but you would have the plans for both and the specs for both.
That sounds good to me, doing what we asked you to do.
Yeah, thank you.
I did have one little bit off topic. I didn't really plan on asking this minor thing, but I didn't think about it till I came here today. My original thought with this project was we were going from the main, I don't even remember what the main drag here is called, the main road towards the cul-de-sac.
Place here, yeah.
Correct. But I don't know if you would care, or if it'd be in your consideration if you would like to have essentially just the driveway apron to this lot here done at that time, or not?
No, if we do it, we'll do the whole, we want the whole thing engineered so we're ready to go in the future. Then if we do it, we do the whole thing.
Okay, I just didn't know if you wanted your driveway apron redone.
On this side of the road.
On this side, yeah.
Well, we don't own that. I don't think Tom wants to pay for that.
Okay.
Actually, we rent this building from Tom.
There you go.
$1 a year. Yeah, we don't
That's all
own
I
this
have.
part here, so, okay.
That's all
I
I
thought you were
had
talking
then.
about on the other side of the road, okay.
Oh, no.
No.
A couple of questions from me. So the overall, I know these are estimates, but the 410 on the front page, is that inclusive of, I would say, everything that would be involved in this project? So I'm just trying to anticipate any, I'll say, surprises or additional bills that would be outside of what you guys have scoped for us here.
Yeah, that's intended, and again, that's a pretty
An
high
estimate.
level, and you never know with construction costs, but that's intended to include even our costs, even the cost for construction services that is that note at the end of, that would be an additional service, but that's included in that high-level estimate.
Okay.
We try to capture that so that that's the all-in design, construction, bidding.
Soil borings,
and-
everything?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. And then, kind of to Dick's question, if we get through all this and we want kind of that, I'll say that package of specs for future, but if for whatever reason we decide not to move forward with the construction, and I guess what would the cost be just to do that portion of things? Is that the engineering costs that you have at the end? Like if we decided we didn't like any of the bids, so we don't end up constructing this year, but we have all the specs and packages from your team, what would that run us? Do we know what that cost would be?
You're saying to essentially rebid the project in a future year? Is that what?
Not the rebidding, but like to get I guess there's a lot of work that has to be done to even go out for a bid, like all the soil borings, I think the engineering, the specs, the surveys, and then it's like, here's the scope of the project, let's put it out for bid. The bids come back, if we decide not to construct, there was still a lot of work done on the front end by your firm.
Yep.
So we'd obviously have to pay for those services. Do you know what that cost is? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
All the costs up through bidding are
Yeah.
the costs that you approved for Pioneer Road the last meeting, and then the 8690 is all that cost for
Okay.
the addition of 99th. That's to take it
Plus-
through bidding.
Plus borings.
The borings is not included in that fee. That's the direct contract with
Got it.
you guys.
Yeah.
So that it would be in addition to the
Okay.
two fees that we've presented.
So the way I look at it, if we went forward, well, we're going forward with this, and if we didn't actually do any work.
Yeah.
We owe 19,985 estimated, another 8690 estimated, plus the cost of the soil borings.
Which I don't think I had in this.
You said
one.
estimated to be 2,000 on this proposal.
And I think
but-
I had 5,000 in the previous one, so, and it maybe actually less than that, see where they come in, but yeah, so add in that 7,000 for
Okay.
soil borings, that'd be your all-in cost through bidding, and at
Got
that
it.
point, you could reject it and you'd have the survey data, you'd have the soil boring data, the design specifications, everything.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay, so what did that end up being, Dick? Approximately?
37,000, so it'd be 20,000 roughly for SEH, we always, yeah, SEH,
About 29,000.
yeah, 20,000 for Pioneer, plus 9,000 roughly for 99th,
Plus
and then
soil
plus
borings.
soil borings for 7,000. So 37, roughly, 37,000.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else got any more questions?
Thank you.
I have a quick one, and this may have been discussed at a previous meeting, so I apologize for that. What is the cost savings to doing both at the same time, or is there none?
No, there is, I didn't spec it out, I guess, to do it as a standalone, but there would be a fair amount of savings just because even a small project, you always have kind of the same setup fees for setting up different pages and the mobilization and whatnot, but you would, I believe you are saving quite a bit likely in the soil borings because your soil boring contractor would only come out once, and then our side, same thing, we're definitely saving money on survey because our surveyors are coming out in that one shot. They still might be multiple days, but they're not remobilizing to the site multiple times. And then also saving in bidding because we'd be bidding it as one project and the advertising and all that stuff on the back end. And there is savings in preparation of the sheets. Is when you're working on a project and you're kind of familiar with it, you can prepare those a little bit quicker and save on, for example, the details of the project. All those are going to be essentially the same, so you'd save on all those preparation costs and things like that. I don't have a specific number, but it's in the scope of $9,000, you're probably saving a few thousand for sure, just on that time savings and duplication of effort.
And it might be easier for us to get bidders doing both jobs. It's a little bigger than trying to get somebody to just bid 99th.
Yeah, theoretically, the more quantity you have, the better prices you get typically, because they can send more tons of asphalt to the same location all in one shot, and they can leave their crews there to demo the road in one shot, things like that.
And this is just me thinking, and again, apologize, this is already covered. Like, so just talking volume-wise, it's like if another township had other roads they wanted to do, is that a possibility to combine the work into anything? I don't know. I just see a pretty big number, and talking about cost savings, like.
We're not, when a construction company does something, they have what they call mobilization fees, and example, blacktopping. Whether you had a 1 mile long road or a 3 mile long road, the mobilization is the same. Bringing the equipment in, bringing the equipment out, the bidding, all that is the same. So if we went in with somebody else, there's still mobilization costs in both. That's why we combine these to eliminate one set of mobilization costs.
Yeah, and generally, unless you were, say, they were doing the main drag out here as a separate entity, generally, unless you're in a fairly close area, you're probably not going to save as much.
No, appreciate it, thank you.
It's kind of like, well, the trail, for Great Cloud Trail is a good example. When the county did 75, between us and St. Paul Park, we jumped on that bid, which really worked out well because we lucked out. The county did everything for us on that. We paid them. I mean, they didn't do it for nothing, but, it saved us doing this right now. Yeah.
So one question, to me, in the way that I understand the project, it sort of makes sense to size both up at the same time for probably the reasons that you guys have made in the past and the potential savings of, I'm calling it sizing them both up, which you include in items like complete the survey, coordinate the boring, making sure that there's design improvements and taking it through bidding. However, if the township doesn't follow through on the bids, let's say that they come back disfavorable, or you just don't want to pursue them,
Or we don't have enough money.
or we don't have enough money, or you want to do one, but
Yep.
not both, or you want to do 99 instead of Pioneer, because that's the way it comes out. Two questions. One of them is, are any of these items, I think a lot of these items don't need to be done again, which is why we're doing them both. And the second thing, do any of your fees come off? Because I think that the way that you base this is a preliminary lump sum fee, but that assumes following through on a contract, for example. Some of the fees relate to contract drafting, but we may not follow through on it. And I'm not trying to do a catch-22, it's just a little bit of so if you help us size up the project, get it to a bidding, and then the board decides that they can do one or none instead of both, do any of the fees not apply because they're included in what it would be your estimate to follow through? Does the question make sense?
I think so to myself, and I'll give a tentative answer. First being that I don't think I have not ever encountered that. And I guess the other thing I'd say is, I guess generally speaking, no, not that I know of, because partly the contracting part of that, if anything, that's generally a very small part, because that part is somewhat, we already have the documents and it's just kind of coordinating the signing back and forth, getting it up to bidding, and then the actual through the bidding process and all that, that would be expended at that time because we'd already have the bids and stuff. So typically no, but it'd be something we could certainly discuss at that time, and see where we're at, because I haven't encountered that before, so I'm not familiar enough to say definitively no, we would not, or yes, we would.
Yeah,
I
understand. Go ahead.
Let me answer. No, we wouldn't get anything back, because these two fees they gave us, around the 19.9 up to 20,000 for Pioneer and the $9,000 for this, that's getting it up through bidding.
Yep.
Then it stops. The oversight of the work, the installation of the work, that stuff, that's above and beyond this. And the reason they didn't give us a price for that is, the other guy told us, I don't know you guys' names, he said, depending who the contractor is, if we worked for him before, depending what the scope of work ends up being involved, changes how much work they have on the oversight of it. He said we get basically a crummy contractor that you guys accept, he said, that we've had trouble with, that cost is going to go up. If we get a good contractor we've had no problems with, we know the oversight's generally less with that person, the cost would be a little bit lower. So anyway, let's put it this way, just make it simple. The fees after bidding are in, on top of all of this. So there would be, no, there's no refund on what we're giving them so far, so.
Okay. So it's 28 flat to figure out whether or not we want to do it.
Whatever they add up to
Yeah.
total,
Yeah.
give or take that number. Yeah.
But, and then the goal is that we have, in theory, the specs on these roads so that if and when we do have the opportunity to do them, we have that already scoped out and engineered.
And that's about the only way we can do it. I mean, really, we gotta know what's there, you get somebody to engineer it, design it, send out the bids. I mean, we don't have much choice. It's kind of a, well, the only other choice you could have is, well, let's put it this way, anything over $175,000 has to be bid out. That's a state law for us. Well, in order to bid it out, you gotta have plans and specs drawn up. Well, here we go, drawing up plans and specs. If we tried to stay under the 175,000, we're gonna do little chunks at a time, and with no plans and specs, God knows what you're gonna get from a contractor.
Yeah, just to clarify,
Yeah.
I completely
Yeah.
agree, and I'm in support of the move. I just wanted clarity on
Yeah.
if we don't follow through, is there like one item that drops off? I just didn't.
No.
So, that's it.
Well,
So, we're gonna have a bit of problem with this because that's 41,000, or is that 410,000? We're gonna have to get minimum 3 bids for that.
yeah, they're gonna do that.
Yeah, part of the package is to publicly bid. We use a service called Quest CDN. It's an online web portal that is the most popular in this area, where any contractor that wants to signs up on there and they get notified when projects get published for paving and road reconstruction, thing like that. So we can't force anybody to bid, but that's the biggest reach in the industry in this
Were
area.
we able to get 3?
Typically, we see, multiple bids. Usually we get 3, but I mean, it depends on a lot of factors and who decides to bid or not, but that's about as much as we can do is publish it on that site. That's, again, the
And
most
Paul,
commonly used service.
yeah, the 410 is just their estimate based on their industry experience. This has not been put out to bid yet, so we don't know what the construction costs or what the bids will come in at. They could be more or less than this from the construction companies.
How many did you get?
Well,
They haven't done it yet.
Yeah, that's after we do the design part.
This is just using their experience to tell us, here's what we think this kind of project will come in at.
So,
For us to have an idea and decide whether we were going to go forward at all with
should
this.
we get our boring company and do this road and do,
They're gonna come back with suggestions for us.
okay.
Yep.
All we're doing tonight is approving the 8690 additional services to engineer, design, and do 99th Street.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve their estimated cost of $8,690 to engineer 99th Street along with the Pioneer Road project.
I'll second it.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks.
And we'll follow up with you then, Pam, with
You
that.
bet. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna do Jane's speeches, driveway request first, if you don't mind. I got a call from Jane's speech last week, and where is it? I got it here. Anyway, she wants to put in an additional driveway. You know, she got a shared one with Tracy, she wants to leave that one evidently, and put in another one. I sent it out, Ed got some information back from Eduardo, trying to find what I do with this stuff. But anyway, the stuff you found, most of it was, where did I put it? Oh. Here we go. Bear with me a minute here. Okay. The one section, page 44 and 45, is all about public and private roads. It's not a public or a private road, it's just a driveway. Public road would be like out here, private road is like what you got with a bunch of townhouses. You know, that's actually a private road, okay? The other part was basically new development lots and stuff like that. And her lot is big, and it's flat, there's no I got a picture of it here, she got a big lot, you're not gonna be running water on somebody else's. I'm sure the amount of trees is gonna be to a minimum, because she's only going just enough driveway for a single-family residence, and it's really not that long of a driveway, it's not, I got a picture of it here, if you wanna see it on Google Earth. Well, I'm guessing it's probably
Let me see.
here. That's just off Google Earth, the existing driveway where the other one was, so I don't see where she needs any permits or anything else for that.
I got a comment
Sure.
on
This is what
this. Push any button.
she's got?
Sure,
No, I
do
think
it.
it's on.
Oh.
Here's where they split right now. There goes the Tracy's,
This goes to Tracy's.
yeah, this one here,
Yep.
yeah. Oh, wait a minute, here's the, I'm not exactly sure where she's taking it off from, but go ahead.
Well, when that was, the property was split to the south, I owned that, and then I sold it to a friend of mine. In order for him to get a building permit, he was supposed to build a cul-de-sac, and together we split the cost and built it. The survey from the county just shows a 66-foot right-of-way for 99th Street. That all butts my property. So in order to get right-of-way abutting the property to the south, which now is owned by Jane Speech, she'd have to legally have, right-of-way on that cul-de-sac. And it shouldn't be that hard to get. I wanted to do that about 45 or 50 years ago. But that friend sold his property, and so any efforts in the meantime were kind of thwarted just by lack of interest. There was a comment that back a while that, a prescriptive easement is there. That has to be done by a court. That was never done, so there's not a legal frontage right now on paper.
Well, you said it had a 66-foot right-of-way, though, you said.
But that only abuts my property, not the property to the south.
Oh.
So the cul-de-sac would make if it's transferred on paper, and from my experiences in St. Paul when designing roads, they put the road on property that generally has an easement, and the property owners own to the center of the street, but the easement allows for the construction on the the street. There is no legal, easement there right now.
Like all of our roads except the county one in Geneva?
I don't know about over there. But that could all be straightened out back when my daughter owned the property now that Ken, is it? Owns. I thought we could all donate and make an agreement, and I think it wouldn't be much more than your attorney probably just having everybody sign that there's a, agreement to an easement. And it would be done properly, in my estimation.
Well, we could, personally myself, I'm not interested in spending a bunch of money trying to rededicate roads and that stuff, because 99th, 105th, Great Cloud Trail, Great Cloud Island Drive, Pioneer, they're all the same, and none of them have actual, let's put it this way, when you look at the county's website, none of them have dedicated roadways, easements put into them. They're all, prescriptive roadways?
It could be.
Huh?
That could be.
Yeah.
Well, before you leave the mic, I'd like to just say, I'm really happy with the work you've been doing on your property.
Oh,
I went down and looked at it before the planning commission.
it was costly, but good things come out of it.
Yeah.
Some
it
conflict.
was- You should go down there, Dick.
I did. I drove down there last night.
The landscaping isn't finished yet, so it's kind of a lot of bare dirt now.
Well,
But There's
yeah.
other things that are going to be done.
Yeah, but I didn't see any of that glass scattered around or any of that. It was all cleaned up. And the
Okay, well, I'm
boats.
glad you're happy at,
Yeah,
Don't quit, though. You still got more junk to the north.
one, that is probably the neighbor's property, but it
Okay.
looks better than you described it one time.
Oh, yeah. Would have to, couldn't got much worse.
Okay, you think so?
Okay, if anybody don't have any big complaints, Pam, you want to,
I got something to say about that.
sure. What?
Where is her driveway proposed to come out into the cul-de-sac?
Well, I think it's,
Because you know where the pin is in that cul-de-sac, the corner of my lot.
right. I think
So if it is anywhere that way of his, where they come in now, that she has to cross my property
Oh,
to get into the cul-de-sac, and then that's a problem.
some of the cul-de-sac is built on your property.
It is. My pin is almost in the center of that cul-de-sac, nearing her, where their entrance to their driveway is. I have a survey, there's a pin in the concrete that my survey company put in when we bought this property 7 years ago. So I know exactly where the corners of that property are.
and they're out in the middle of the
It
cul-de-sac.
is, somebody built a cul-de-sac on that property, and
Right here.
It was built years ago when,
does anybody have the copy of the survey that I did the plot for Monday night? Do you have a copy of that?
Well, can I, before you show them that, can I?
Sure,
my
yeah,
comment?
yeah.
Dick, I think that, I mean, the proper process for a job like this is that the right information is provided to the planning commission, that we can review it, and then we can make a recommendation. I think the only conversation item that came up the other day is, what do we need to do to give feedback on a driveway? Which I researched quickly, sent it to the entire group
Yeah.
to say, there's probably a lot to it, but if you want to quote what I said, they have to follow the site plan documentation process, which would clarify all the necessary documentation to be reviewed. I would urge you not to take action on approving something that hasn't gone through that process or that doesn't have the necessary follow-through or just review of.
I agree with you, now that we find out the neighbors, there's
Wonderful.
property line, possible property line disputes.
Yep,
Sure.
Yep.
This is the corner of my property. This is where their driveways go into split. So if it's anywhere over here, she's gonna have to come across my property to get on that cul-de-sac.
They're in your property already. This is your property,
Sure.
This is the road, is this the cul-de-sac? I don't know what this,
right? No, the cul-de-sac is up here.
oh, okay.
So,
your property
Is here?
that corner where the pin and post.
Yeah, so right there. So this is their,
Joint
so your joint driveway kind of rides the property line between the two.
That was the intent.
Yeah. So depending on where, unless it comes out immediately next to that one, it tends to go through my.
I've already built one when neighbor years ago suggested maybe this be straightened out here, and I went around over, I think it's more like this. I don't know, it's pretty close to, it goes across some of your property, I would say.
well, right here it does.
Not there.
That's my property, this one.
Probably like,
Oh.
sat in over here.
Whose property is this?
That's James Peach.
And this is yours, and this is the end of the cul-de-sac here, so that's the pin for the, well, you can see it right there, this is about where their driveways enter the road, the cul-de-sac now, and that's the corner of my property.
Is this something we want to take offline or table and ask for the correct documents to be brought forward, or?
Tell her to
Oh,
bring
you're
in front
talking
of
about
the
the cul-de-sac.
planning
Yes.
commission and talk to her neighbors.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
from here, this is her property, and then this is Tracy's property over here.
We just have other agenda items, so I just want to keep,
The one issue you run into, I understand, we got other properties around here that their property goes across the road. I mean, it actually is road. But then, I don't know, I ain't no attorney, but after you use a road so long, it goes by what they call prescriptive easement. So, example, we go down to repave this and redo that road. We're gonna do the whole cul-de-sac.
Yep.
We're not gonna go around your
No.
pin, you know what I mean?
No, and,
Yeah,
But to go across, she's planning on coming over here and coming across my property
Yeah,
to,
right,
to that.
right.
If she's coming right here, but coming across that corner of my property
Yeah.
with a driveway
yeah,
is not
right,
happening.
right.
But where she would come would still be on the paved portion right now, where she would enter, of that cul-de-sac. But it's not on
I'll
the
make a
legal
motion
66 foot
to
wide.
table this
Yeah.
and get the proper documents to the planning committee.
Yeah, well, it don't hurt to have some discussion amongst the neighbors, yeah.
The right of way for the county
Okay,
only
we're
shows
moving
66
along.
foot wide right now.
Well, you said it didn't even show it before.
The county does, show 66 foot wide, they don't show the cul-de-sac
Oh,
right of way.
okay. Well, Pam, you want to draft a letter to Jane and tell?
That's on you, she called you. You
Okay,
tell her no.
okay, I'll call her. I'll call her when I get home.
I would try to pick up some of Eduardo's concerns.
Oh, well, it'll end up in front of the planning commission, so. Yeah, I got A&Rs, yeah. All right, so that's tabled for now. What's next? Next is Tom, right?
Yeah.
Let's make notes, let's get it in the minutes so that concerns were brought up about her driveway and property lines and where the driveway would come out and stuff like that, though.
And the recommendation is to take it back to the planning commission?
Yeah,
Okay.
not back, but two, I guess.
Tom, you wanna come up?
2, yeah, it hasn't been there.
And Pam, if I may, if they ask, go for it, Tom, if they ask with what, there's a section on page 20 of our zoning that is called site requirements, they know what to bring. Basically, it outlines exactly what they gotta bring to the planning, so they don't just say, what do you want?
Okay. I can talk about Tom's thing if you want.
I can find that and email it to you. I don't know if Jane has an email, the page 20, the driveway portion, or
Oh.
you got that too with
Yeah.
ordinance? Okay.
Yeah. You want me to talk about Holcim's thing? I can.
Well, come on, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. We got a request from Holcim to not necessarily amend their 24 permit. What we approved on the original permit didn't quite get reflected in the minutes of the meeting, is what happened to us. It did and it didn't, it's vague in there. So they asked, now these hours they've had in the past, after doing some reviewing and that's what they've been allowed to operate in years prior, is 6 in the morning till 10 at night, their crushing, running operation. And what we approved was 7 to noon on Saturday, at least last year, I don't know about the years before. So I would be inclined to approve their 6 to 10 request Monday through Friday, and there's 7 to 12 on Saturday, with the caveat that it's fully rescindable if the board determines.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion on that.
I'll second it.
Okay. Discussion?
Is this gonna mean extra trucks rolling back and forth, or just the operation?
I couldn't say extra trucks. The truck timing would not change, because the number of trucks depends on how much gravel they sell. So, but,
Right, but they'll be able to start running down my road at 6 in the morning.
no, the trucking would stay the same. Hours and operations of the truck would stay the
It's
same.
just in the mind like you asked.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
in the mind.
Yep. Same with the blasting, and
Stays the same.
stays the same. Okay. We both approved it?
Yep,
Got a vote.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are you happy now?
Thank you, guys.
Are we talking about revisions to ordinance 49.2?
Yeah, we pretty much covered that earlier tonight.
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything else? Nothing?
Should we adjourn?
We talked about at the end, one last thing, I'm sorry.
Sure, no, that's fine.
We talked about at the annual meeting last night, doing ditch cleanup again. I know that we
Yeah, we talked,
mentioned it, but
did.
we want to kind of try and bring it back, do coffee and donuts in the morning at 10 a.m. Hopefully get some people here.
Saturday, April 13th,
At 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
We're hoping to get some people here to guys with people with trucks to pick up the bags that are left on the road, people to pick up along the side of the road. We'll have vests and garbage bags, the heavy-duty kind. And I'm thinking it's probably only going to take us a couple hours to Holcim. I know, I'm hotter to blazes.
Beer cans coming down from,
Yeah.
down the Dead Man's Creek. I'm always picking up stuff.
Yep, yeah, there's a lot of residents that pick up in front of their home or along the ray when they're walking. But I also wanted to mention that Patty was here last night and volunteered you guys again to do County Road 75. So from the Y to your driveway, basically the Holcim driveway up there. So that just leaves, Geneva 105th, 99th, Pioneer.
Pioneer is done.
Probably. We got the mattress today, so, also if, one last thing, if you do see large items in the ditch, call me. We have a really good, road boss that's real, quick to, pick it up. So I just need to know about it. That's it.
We were talking about the cemetery, Patty brought up, doing the cleanup over there. I haven't been over there for a while. I just, the other years the years we went over and done raking and throwing it over the fence, it's a lot of work and it's kind of crummy and that's what we did, we dumped it over the fence. I'm almost thinking, it doesn't cost that much to call the yard cleanup guy in there with a mower and a vacuum thing and go around the outside edge and clean it up. Because I know my uncle had a lawn service, he don't anymore. But they can clean up more stuff in 1 hour with a tractor and a vacuum. I was wondering, that Freddie next to you, don't he have a lawn service? You get a chance, did you talk to him?
Sure.
Why don't you ask him what he charges to go over there and do a spring cleanup over there?
You don't want me to ask Tucker?
Well, Tucker's got enough problem with his own place. Maybe we could dump the stuff at Tucker's. And he wouldn't have to haul it away either, because,
Yeah, he just leave it.
he could put it out in the field out there, just dump, because that's one of the big costs is hauling it away. Okay, I ain't got anything else.
Anything else?
No. Make motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.